Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be going over the tool reviews I made in 2024 and see if I still stand by them after using them for a year. I'll also be looking at the knives that I made last year, see how they've held up, and what I might do differently if I made them again. This is my layout fluid that I use, and I've been using it for every single knife. It makes it so much easier. You can use marker and then mark it, but this layout fluid makes it really clear, a lot easier to see when you're grinding. This is the Edge Pro Apex knife sharpener. I really like this sharpener because you can set your angle depending on how thick your blade is. You don't have to worry about going too steep. The angle is set so it gets the same angle every time. I do have a couple other sharpeners I'd like to review this year, but so far this is the best one and my favorite one I've used. This is a knife I made for my friend who's a falconer. He has a peregrine falcon, so I etched a peregrine on the blade. This next video was the one I had the most fun making. It was a quench video where I wanted to see if I could quench a knife in urine and have it hold an edge.
What is wrong with you? Go away.
This person was rude, but one person agreed to help me.
Whoa!
I was afraid it was gonna crack the blade, but it held up really well. I've used it a lot and it still holds an edge. For Valentine's Day, I forged a rose out of some leftover steel. I'm going to be trying this one again. This was my first attempt, and it was pretty good, but I'd like to get a little bit better at it. So I'll be doing another one sometime soon. For St. Patrick's Day, I made this small knife with a green handle, and I turned the steel pins into brass by using a secret ingredient. Really like how this knife turned out. The only problem was, in the end, Ivar found the leprechaun. For Mother's Day, I made this knife that I darkened with vinegar. I used these pink acrylic scales and white liners for the handle. For the 4th of July, I used vinegar again to darken the knife, and I used patriotic kieranite scales for the handle. Christmas time, I wanted to make a throwing snowflake out of a saw blade. In this video, I go over step by step how I made it so you can do it for yourself. The hardest part was getting in between these really small sections, but I explained how to do that in the video. The second video I made for Christmas was I took this steel bolt and I forged a mini cleaver Christmas ornament out of it. I went step by step so you could see exactly how I made it in case you wanted to try it. In one of my forging videos, I made a knife out of a coil spring. This knife was a lot of fun to forge. I also made a video where I timed how long it took me to make a knife. I went step by step so you can see exactly how long it takes for every step of the knife making process. In one of my tutorial videos, I show how I add jimping to a knife. This gives a better grip, especially in fishing knives or any knife that you're going to be getting it wet and it might slip out of your hands. I had somebody ask me if I could restore an axe head that they'd had for years. So in this video, I show a whole bunch of different ways that I restored it. In another tutorial video, I show how you can make a knife even if you don't have a forge. This is a file that I turned into a knife. I really like the handle that I used on this. It's black ice acrylic and also red G10 liners. I tested this one out and the edge held up really well. I've been using it the whole time and it's still got a great edge on it. I also had a custom order for a Viking sax. And this one, the guy also wanted a fuller in it, and I did a separate video how I showed how you can make a fuller by just using an angle grinder. He also wanted a wolf etched into the blade, so I also showed the process of doing a custom etching. Forged one knife from a railroad spike last year. And I talk about why railroad spikes don't make the best knives. They're a lot of fun though if you're just starting out. A good way to get a lot of practice is forging the blade. I also forged a knife out of this wrench. It had a broken piece, so I couldn't use it as a wrench anymore. After forging a lot of knives from wrenches, they make okay knives. The edge doesn't hold up that great, but I do have an idea to make the edge a lot better. I'll be trying that sometime this year. Last year in the fall, I got invited to go to a farmer's market and bring some of my stuff. I had knives, but I also wanted to make some rings, so I show how you can make rings out of leftover handle scales. In this step-by-step tutorial video, I showed how you can take a bunch of quarters and turn it into mokume. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. I'll probably be using it as a guard for a dagger later this year. I have a lot of pieces of scrap steel that aren't long enough for the knives I want. So in this video, I made a split fork knife out of the small piece of steel. This was a knife that I've been wanting to make for a long time. It has a double blade on it. And I did a lot of tests with this one. Tried stabbing it into paint cans to see if it would do any damage, and it held up really well. I still have this knife. I'm still using it, and the edges held up great. This is a throwing knife that I made from a circular saw blade, and this has held up a lot better than I expected. I've thrown it hundreds of times, and I've missed my target and hit concrete, and there's still no damage to the tip. This is a crescent wrench. I've been wanting to make one of these for a while. I forged a knife out of this. I really like how these look. Thanks for watching this video. Let me know if you enjoyed it. If there's any knives you'd like to see me try this year, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.